Massive earnings report coming this week. Nvidia releases its hotly anticipated earnings after the bell on Wednesday. We'll also get reports from retail names like Lowe's and Target, tech companies including Palo, Alto Networks and Snowflake, and Chinese ADRs like Xpeng and Bilibili. A couple of economic data prints are in watch as well, including S&P Global PMI Flash and Michigan consumer sentiment. Stay tuned to get a preview of the week ahead. We'll start the week on Monday with an exciting report in the Chinese EV space, earnings from Li Auto. The company recently reported a 53% year-over-year increase in sales for Q1 2024, and it reportedly received more than 41,000 orders for its L6 model from April 18th to May 5th. Li beat expectations for both EPS and revenue for Q4 2023, but projected lower than expected Q1 revenue. So we'll have to see if the company exceeds its own sales expectations. Some Fed speak expected before the open as well, with Fed's Bostic scheduled to speak at 8:45. The JPMorgan Global Technology, Media, and Communications Conference kicks off today and ends on Wednesday. Companies that are slated to attend on Monday include MasterCard, Datadog, Reddit, and C3AI. Other company events to keep an eye out for on Monday are investor days for both JPMorgan Chase and Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. A few tech companies reporting after the bell, including Palo Alto Networks and Zoom Communications. Even though Palo Alto beat EPS and revenue estimates in the last quarter, its projections for fiscal Q3 2024 were lower than expected. Analysts expect the cybersecurity company to report $1.97 billion in quarterly revenue, within Palo Alto's own guidance of $1.95 billion to $1.98 billion. Zoom Communications had a standout fiscal Q4 2024, beating expectations for revenue and EPS and announcing a $1.5 billion buyback program. The company also projected higher than expected earnings for Q1 and fiscal year 2025. Let's see if its earnings can live up to these high expectations. Another round of earnings for retail companies and Chinese ADRs dropping before the bell, with both Lowe's and Macy's reporting in the retail space. Lowe's provided lower than expected revenue and EPS guidance for 2024 during its last report, though it beat top and bottom line estimates for Q4 2023. The hardware chain also noted a 6.2% drop in comparable sales for Q4, so that could be a metric to watch out for in their upcoming report. Macy's has been on watch throughout 2024 thanks to its proxy battle with ArcHouse, an activist investor, with the retailer adding 2 of ArcHouse's 9 candidates to its board as of mid-April. Macy's reported $8.12 billion in sales during the previous quarter, missing the estimate of $8.15 billion, with its EPS and revenue guidance for fiscal 2024 also falling below expectations. In the Chinese ADR space, we'll get reports from Xpeng and Gaotu. Xpeng is definitely one to watch, especially on the back of the US government's decision to hike Chinese EV tariffs from 25% to 100%. The EV maker reported a 171% year-over-year increase in Q4 deliveries and forecasts a 44 to 54% increase in Q1 revenue, so we'll have to see if it can meet those goals. Zim Integrated Shipping is also on watch. The stock dropped after its last report, when the company reported a 45% year-over-year drop in Q4 sales. About 22.5% of Zim's stock is sold short, so this will be one to watch. Not one, but 2 comments from Fed's Bostic scheduled today. First at 9:10 a.m. and then again at 7 p.m. We'll also get comments from Fed's Barkin at 9 a.m. Another round of companies set to attend JPMorgan's Global Technology Conference today, including Affirm, Twilio, Micron, Visa, and Mattel. SoFi is also on watch, with its annual shareholder meeting scheduled for 10 a.m. No major earnings after the close on Tuesday. That brings us to Wednesday, when we'll get Target earnings before the bell. Despite declines in comparable sales and lower than expected guidance for Q1 earnings per share, analysts including Citigroup, Barclays, and Goldman Sachs raised their price targets for the stock following its last report. Target reported a strong EPS beat and higher than expected revenue for Q4 2023, with its EPS guidance for fiscal 2024 largely exceeding analyst estimates. Another retail name to watch out for, TJX Companies, which has gotten a steady stream of upgrades from analysts like UBS and Goldman Sachs since its last report. The department store chain made more than $50 billion during fiscal 2024, a first for the company, though its Q1 and fiscal 2025 projections fell below estimates. A bit of economic data on Wednesday, with existing home sales for April coming in at 10 a.m. We'll get the 20-year bond auction at 1 p.m., followed by the release of the FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Stay tuned for the release of those meeting minutes to get a sense of the Fed's outlook, especially given the hawkish tilt of Fed speak as of late. Massive earnings report coming in after the close when we finally get Nvidia earnings. The semiconductor giant reported a 265% year-over-year increase in Q4 revenue to $22.1 billion, well above the estimated $20.62 billion. Earnings per share of $5.16 also beat the expected $4.64. Nvidia announced its Blackwell family of GPUs at its GTC conference in March and credited its stellar performance last quarter to AI strength. So there will be a lot to consider on Wednesday afternoon. Nvidia is not the only big report we're getting after the bell, though. Look out for Snowflake, which sold off after announcing the retirement of CEO Frank Slootman during its last report. The tech company beat expectations for both EPS and revenue for the previous quarter, and we'll have to see if they can replicate or beat those results in their first quarter under new CEO Sridhar Ramaswamy. On the retail side of things, we'll also get a report from beauty staple e.l.f. The company beat expectations for Q3 2024 and raised its EPS and revenue projections for the fiscal year. Another round of Chinese ADR earnings to get the ball rolling on Thursday morning with Bilibili and Weibo. Bilibili, which just received price target increases from CLSA and Mizuho, reported a narrower than expected loss per share and a revenue beat during its last report, with DAUs jumping 8% year over year. Analysts expect the company to post Q1 2024 revenue of $775.06 million. Some retail names to watch out for here too. BJ's Wholesale Club and Ralph Lauren are dropping reports before the bell. Keep an eye out for TD Bank as well. The Wall Street Journal reported that the Justice Department is investigating the bank in connection with money laundering. So these earnings could get interesting. A slew of economic data coming through on Thursday, including the S&P Global Manufacturing, Composite, and Services PMI Flash for May, which will be released at 9:45 a.m. Before those prints, at 8:30, we'll get the Chicago Fed National Activity Index and initial jobless claims, and new home sales numbers for April will drop at 10 a.m. We'll get the 15-year and 30-year mortgage rates at 12 p.m., followed by the 10-year TIPS auction at 1 p.m. The Treasury inflation-protected securities auction happens less frequently than the bond, bill, and note auctions. So watch out to see how the market reacts to these numbers. A few more earnings reports dropping after the close, including 23andMe and Intuit. 23andMe has a short float of just over 12%. This name could get interesting. That brings us to Friday, where we get another round of economic data to wrap up the week. Durable goods orders for April are scheduled to drop at 8:30 a.m., followed by the final Michigan consumer sentiment, expectations, and conditions numbers. The initial Michigan consumer sentiment reading for May came in at 67.4, well below the estimate of 76 and the April print of 77.2. The current estimate for this final print is sitting at 77.2. Let's see if we can get an increase from that preliminary number or if consumer sentiment remains low. And that's the week ahead. Tune in with us at 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday on tradertv.live.